Okay guys, so now's the time we get to build this together. So you've got your kits in front of you, so let's get started. You'll have your scales at the top of the kit, and what you're going to first do is get everything out of the kit ready to go. Okay, so now you're going to disassemble the scales from the packaging, and so what you should do is put your hand behind and let the front rest in your hand, and then lefty-loosey unscrew the bolts. Okay, so you now have everything ready to go to get started. The first thing we're going to do is assemble 3 of the bolts into the back. This is what the back part looks like. It's with the through holes all the way through. So you're going to take bolts and you're going to put them in the top right, the bottom right, and the bottom left. Once you've assembled into those, you're going to flip this over and lay it on the table by adding a slight bit of sideways force here to keep the bolts in place. So now you have it looking upwards with the 3 bolts in the right positions, so the bottom left hole should be empty. And go ahead and open your tool set. So in your tool set, you're going to start off by getting the pry tool and the knife. So let's start with the pry tool. You want it with the rough nail file facing upwards. I'm going to place it into the top right bolt. Then you're going to take your knife and with the finger notch facing upwards, and be careful with the blade, you're going to place it on the same bolt. And so there they are, resting on top of one another. So we're now going to take 2 of these spring bars, 1, 2, and we're going to rest them with the curve matching the curve of the knife, and they go onto the top left bolt. Make sure the end of the spring bar goes between the 2 bolts here. And then you take your second one and rest it over the top. And you can just adjust that into place. So now you have your knife, your pry bar and your 2 spring bars in there, and you're going to now fit the remaining 2. Take the shorter spring bar and you're going to have it in the opposite direction and position it on the bottom right bolt. So that just rests on there like that. Then you take your final spring bar, which is the one that has the ring, the key ring attachment, and you're going to place it on top like that. Okay, so now you have all the parts in there apart from the scissors. So take your front of the scale here with the cross on the right hand side, or the same edge as where the key ring is positioned. And you're going to place this on top. This is where it gets slightly difficult. You've got to make sure the bolts don't come out. And so what you're going to do is line up the bolts with these positions here. And once it rests into place, if you give it a little bit of a wiggle, you can feel the bolts have matched there. You're going to pick the whole thing up with applying a bit of pressure and make sure the whole thing stays together. And you're going to flip it over. And so I'm keeping these all together. You take your screwdriver and very lightly just screw these bolts together. And this is going to hold everything. Please don't over tighten it. Just incredibly lightly. Barely even finger tight. And now that is a great position because none of these tools are coming out. The springs are in place, but there's no force being applied, so these parts can just move freely like this. Just tighten that back up again. So this is in a good position here, so none of the parts are going to come out. And what we're going to do is add the scissors. When you're adding the scissors, you're effectively putting force into the Swiss Army knife, and so you need to use this small jig that I've designed. And so you take your scissors, and what you're really looking for here is that hole needs to line up with this hole and put the bolt through it eventually. And so to do that, you hold it with the bolts facing upwards, and you hold in your right hand the scissors, and you can apply a small amount of pressure like that, and you want it to slot in like that. So you're holding it just against in that slot between the scales. You take your jig, and on one side of the jig there is a small ledge that sticks out, and that is what's going to hit into this small recess in the scissors. So you take your jig in your left hand and you match the edge of this to the edge of that scissors there, and when you slowly push the whole thing into the jig, what that's done is push the scissors into position, applying that spring force, and now you're free to take your screwdriver and your bolt, and you can assemble that final bolt, and that should just fall through like this, and then you can again very lightly screw it together, and then that's pretty much it. All your parts will now be working. There's just a couple more things to get through, but that is most of the assembly done. Don't forget your keyring tab, which I'll put on now. So there you go, that's all together, and that's most of the assembly done. We're now going to do the paracord keyring attachment. So let's get on with the paracord snake knot. This is up to you whether or not you use this, but I thought I'd add it just for a bit of extra fun. Okay, so this is quite difficult and will take a bit of re-watching, but please feel free to pause and rewind the video as I do this. Just put your custom Swiss Army knife to one side. Okay, so you've got your paracord loop, and what you're going to do is grip it. You're going to leave roughly just over an inch of loop there. Hold it in your left hand, and you take your left loop here, and what you're going to do is go round the back and actually through your fingers there, and then pull it like that. Then we're going to adjust slightly to hold it sideways, and we're going to take this one and go behind the back here and through that hole here. Okay, so that's that. Now you then take your whole knot that you just put it just on your finger like this, and grip it with your thumb, and you can wrap it around the finger, this one sticking out here, and go through that loop again, and then you can just hold it there. Then you take this one and you pull that tight. Right, so that's the hard bit. I know it's quite tricky to get right. But once you've got this, you've got the makings at the beginning of your snake knot. Okay, so you've got this part. What you're then going to do is have that loop facing you. You put it back on your finger. You take that spare loop here, the one that's already going through the loop, you wrap it round your finger, go through the loop, and you repeat that process, and you make sure that the paracord is always away from the loop here, it's on that side. So once you put that through the loop, then you can tighten it out like that, and you can see you're now repeating the process. So if you do that again, finger, hold it, loop facing you, and you take that, wrap it around your finger, put it through, and then tighten again. And then you can basically get quite quick at doing this. Keep going, however many you want to do, however many you can fit. I do 3 usually, but I think I'll do 4 now. And when you want to finish, so instead of repeating the process and going around your finger again, what you can do is just pull the other one. And so when you pull that, you tighten it. And then you can just give it a little twist, neaten it up, and then you've got your paracord snake knot right like that. You can take your freshly made custom Swiss Army knife and you can cut that slightly like this. And if you have a lighter to hand, what you can do is take your lighter, burn the ends here, careful not to melt the rest of it, and then you use a metal piece, the edge of the lighter, something like that, and it just flattens it right out. So you've got your snake knot like this, and then for the final assembly you just loop that through, put the snake knot through that loop and tighten. And there you have it. A perfectly made custom Swiss Army knife with a very own hand-tied snake knot. Okay guys, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of feedback, a lot of questions, so please just drop a comment down below. I'm going to try and add that into the functionality of the website. Or you can just email me. Email me at alex@madebyparallel.com. These instructions are going to be updated and changed. I might even add an FAQ section because I'm sure it's going to be quite challenging. But the beauty of this is that, you know, this is a very unique product. There's no one really out there that's doing it like this, so you can actually make your own custom one from scratch. And you end up with something that's truly unique. So thanks again for following along. I wish you all the best and all good luck with your build. Obviously just ask any questions that you need. I'm always around to answer those. And thanks again for supporting the campaign. It honestly means the world to me, and it's been a pretty fun but bit of a bonkers ride. But I'm very happy and proud to say that all of these are going all around the world right now. So that's it. Thank you so much, and chat soon.